Hey everyone and Happy New Year. Today we're going to be talking about setting SMART goals. But before we get right into that, I'm going to tell you what SMART means in this context. If you've read a book or you've seen this somewhere before, that's great. But if you've not seen it for the first time, SMART in this case is an acronym for something. And it means setting specific goals, measurable goals, achievable goals, relevant goals, and time-bound goals. So you want to set goals that are specific, right? You want to set goals that you can measure. You don't also want to be unrealistic with your goals. You want to set goals that are achievable, relevant to your overall growth, and are also time-bound. So if you're going to be setting SMART goals, the first thing is, how are you going to use this SMART framework, right? How are you going to use this framework to empower yourself to set, goals and get that 2024 career growing, get that 2024 money, get that 2024 peace? How are you going to do all of that? That 2024 fitness? That's what we're going to be talking about in this video, okay? The first thing is specific. You should be specific with your goals because this actually helps you with focus. It helps you with focus and it helps you set some kind of success criteria. So you actually know, okay, this goal that I've set, for example, what's the metric for success if it's specific? So don't say something like, okay, this year I want to save money, right? If you save 2,000 naira, you've saved money. Right? If you save 100,000 naira, you've saved money. If you save 2 million naira, you've saved money. So now, how much money do you actually want to save? You don't also want to say something like, this year I want to lose weight. If you lose 1 kg, you've lost weight, right? If you lose 10 kg, 20 kg, you've also lost weight. So you want to be very specific with that goal so that it gives you a sense of direction and you can even measure success when you are introspecting at the end of the year and thinking, okay, have I met my goals? Have I not met my goals? What do I need to do better? The next thing I would want to say is that you should set measurable goals. You want to set goals that you can measure so that you can track some kind of progress, because one thing that tracking progress does for you, right, is that it gives you the zeal to continue even when you don't feel like continuing, right? If you are not setting goals that you can measure, you might be moving forward and you might not be aware that you're actually moving forward because you can't measure your goal. So let's say, for example, this year, you've made a decision that you want to apply to 20 leadership programs, you want to apply for 20 jobs, you want to apply for 20 opportunities and things like that. If you didn't put that number 20 there, if it's not something you can measure, you wouldn't be able to track how far you've come, right? If you've said, oh, okay, I want to attend 3 local events this year and I want to speak at 2 global events. So I'm only doing 2 speaking engagements, but I'm going to be attending 5 conferences, because when I speak at an event, I'm going to be attending it. So 5 events generally. 2 global, 3 local, right? If you are not planning and rather, if you're not measuring that, if you didn't put a number to it, you're not sure what you were doing was, successful in any way, if you think about it. When your goals are measurable, you can now check consistency because now you can do it in bits. You can say that, okay, if the goal is to do 15 applications, I'm going to start by doing 2 in January consistently. Maybe in February, I'm going to do 3. In March, I'm going to do 1. In April, I'm going to do 4 because I'm not doing anything. I have some time. I'm going to be on holiday. You can think of ways to now consistently and gradually meet those goals. You can progress and it creates some kind of accountability because towards half of the year, you can decide that, okay, you want to do a mid-year check-in with yourself and you want to see how much of your goals you've met or at least reached a half of. And if this isn't something you can measure, if you're not putting numbers or some kind of metrics to it, right? And I said apply to 15 things, not get 15 acceptances, because at the end of the day, that congratulations message is not in your control. Let me just tell you. Do you understand? But I've decided to embrace failure in a way that, the more failures you get, the more rejections you get, the closer you are to your goal. Because that means you're applying for more things for them to constantly keep rejecting you, and they can't reject you forever. One day, one person will say yes to you, right? So that's why I would say focus on application numbers. While you are obviously improving those applications as the rejections come, you are taking feedback and you are getting better, as opposed to the application, like the acceptance numbers itself, because that one is out of your control. Application, however, is in your control. That's why I'm using that. So back to what I was saying at the media checking. Media, you can now check and be like, okay, I've done this, so I know that I've reached half of my goals, blah, 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 blah. So you make sure you set measurable goals so that you can check them, as you go, and it helps you so that you even know when you are slacking and you can sit up and do the work that you're supposed to be doing. The next thing is that you want to set achievable goals. I say this thing a lot. Don't go and use your goals to give yourself burnout, right? And be compassionate with yourself. One thing that we have as young people is the luxury of time. You will not do everything in 2024. Even if you want to rush and do everything in 2024, I'm sure that you get to a point in your life in December that you feel like, now I've done all the things I want to do. I want to go and start doing a new set of things in 2025. I want to create a new path for myself. The point is, as a human being, there's always a lot to do, right? More things will keep coming and keep coming. So it's important for you to know that you have the luxury of time. So don't overwhelm yourself. Set achievable goals. And that's why I used, again, the number. I want to apply for 15 programs or 15 jobs. Things that are within your control. If you are starting a weight loss journey, I want to lose 10 kg. Don't go and tell yourself you want to lose 40 kg. You would burn yourself out. It's okay to set, a goal to lose 10 kg. And 4 months into the year, you've lost 10 kg. There's no reason why you can't revise your goals if you feel like you actually crushed these goals earlier than you thought. But one thing you should not do is set unrealistic goals that you want to force yourself to meet, because it would burn you out. And I promise you, if anything happens to you, the world will mourn you and the world will move on. So don't put yourself under any unnecessary pressure to make it financially, to look a certain way to a group of people, to do whatever it is, or even putting yourself on some kind of pressure for yourself. Sometimes it might not be for people. Sometimes it might be for you. Cut yourself some slack. Be compassionate with yourself, right? Make sure that you're setting achievable goals that you can actually achieve. Think about yourself. Think about what you're capable of doing. Think about the resources you have around you and set goals based on that. Like if you're someone that has a full-time 9-to-5 job, but you also want to pursue acting as a career, you can't say that you want to star in 20 movies. Do you understand? When are you going to find time to shoot? Do you get what I mean? I'm saying, do you get what I mean? Like as if I'm talking to somebody, but I hope you get what I mean, okay? The point is, you want to set goals. Like, okay, it's okay to start with 2 to 3 movies while you're working your 9-to-5 and gradually grow from there. What I'm trying to say is that you should be compassionate with yourself. Take stock of everything you have available to you, right? Your resources, your time, the people around you, what you are capable of doing, right? And go from there. It's okay to once in a while attempt to bite more than you can chew so that you can see how big your mouth is. Sure. But don't let that be a constant thing in your life, because it will burn you out and you are the one that is in charge of your life at the end of the day. When you set achievable goals, you'll be motivated, right? And this thing actually encourages consistency. So you'd want to go forward and forward and forward. If you set goals that you can't achieve, you would always be frustrated. You'd always be frustrated. And honestly, nobody wants that. The next thing is that you should set relevant goals. You want to set goals that are relevant to your overall vision. Me personally, right, I'm going to talk about some of the goals that I've set, or rather one goal that I have set, which is a goal around what I want Next Scale, my non-profit, to achieve this year. And that goal ties into our overall vision as a non-profit. Personal goals that I have set for myself, obviously I wouldn't share on this channel because I like to keep my private things private. But those things align with where I want my career to go in the grand scheme of things, the kind of life I am optimizing for beyond career, because there are other things to life, right? The kind of life I'm optimizing for with my friendships, with my hobbies, with my connections, like the different things that I'm optimizing for in my life, right? So with my personal relationship with God as well, different things, I'm setting goals that tie into that. And if obviously it doesn't fit into that overall thing for me, it's not part of the things that I'm going to be setting goals for. It's not relevant to me. So you want to set goals that are relevant to you because it fits into the bigger picture and it takes you steps closer to your goal, what you're trying to achieve. Just ask yourself this question when you're setting a goal. What do I want out of life? And then think deeper. Does this goal help me achieve that? If the answer to that second question is no, when you answer the first question, which is what you want to achieve out of life based on what the goal is, maybe you should reprioritize your goals. That's all I'm just going to say about this particular thing. I think it's very important. The final thing I want to say is that you should keep your goals time bound. This helps with managing expectations. Oh, I want to have visited 5 conferences in the next 12 months. I want to have lost 10 kg in the next 6 months. It helps you with tracking how far you are going. And like I said, mid-goal check-ins are a thing. So, for example, let's say I want to get promoted at work in the next 12 months. By month 6, are you checking in with yourself, your contributions at work? Are you checking in with your manager and hearing what they have to say about your contributions and seeing if you are closer to that promotion that you are asking for, right? I want to have saved $5,000 by the end of the year. You can actually do immediate checking. How much have I saved? Oh, I've saved 2,500, I've saved 3K, I've saved 1,800. And based on that, you can now reprioritize and move forward with your goals for the next duration of that particular goal that you've set. You know, this helps with like tracking progress. And another thing with putting like a deadline on things is that it gives some sense of responsibility because you know that this thing isn't going to run forever. For example, let's say you want to write a book, right? And you've put a deadline on the book. And this is even me talking to myself because I've done it before, right? I want to write a book and I put a deadline for the book in December. And I make an announcement in June saying, hi everyone, I'm currently writing a book and it's going to be out in December. I know that the book has to be out in December because now somehow there are lots of people on the wait list waiting for me, waiting for that book, and I cannot slack anymore. And the reason I'm sharing all of these tips with you is because I set SMART goals last year. My year 2023 was an amazing year. It was the best year of my life, literally. A lot changed in my life in 1 year. And that was because I took setting my goals and going after them a bit more seriously. And I've come here to share these tips with you as well. I also want to talk about long-term goals in a bit, right? There are some goals that are not achievable in 1 year. So I know that we're talking about, setting goals for 2024, but you can also consider more longer-term goals, in terms of like, okay, your career progression. Let's say, you have a goal to become an engineering manager or a software architect or a technical product manager or CTO in a company someday. You can break those goals into smaller goals. If you want to become an engineering manager, say, okay, my goal in the next 3 years is to become a senior engineer. My goal in the next 3 to 5 years is become a tech lead. My goals in the next 7 years after becoming a tech lead is to now try this people management thing as a test run before I full-time become an engineering manager, right? And obviously you can't do that kind of thing in 1 year. So it's okay to set some of your goals, break them down, your longer term goals, break them down into smaller bits and create a roadmap and go with that. Last year, towards the end of last year, December last year, I met someone that went to space. And she was telling us the story about, how she went to space and everything. And she mapped out this was something that she wanted to do as a child when she looked into one of the stars as a young girl. And she eventually went to space in her adulthood. But every step she made from that point where she chose to go to space as a child was a goal, rather was like a plan into that her broader goal. And that's why I'm saying, like, you want to make goals as well that are relevant. You want to make goals that are, smart. And she did that. Obviously, it was something she achieved within the space of over 10 years. It's not something she did in 1 year. But the point is, she made small steps like, okay, hey, one thing I'm going to do is move to the US. One thing I'm going to do is try and get into NASA. NASA didn't work out for her. And then she was like, okay, let's re-strategize. Where else can we go? What else can we do? So breaking those goals into smaller bits allowed her get to where she needed to go, right? With the focus on the longer term goal, which she had, which is what I'm trying to say. Once you've set your goals, it's now time to go into action and achieve those goals. And I wish you luck in all your endeavors. I keep saying that you should celebrate the small wins, because winning, generally, doing anything, working for yourself and achieving what you achieve is not easy. So when you do, make sure you celebrate yourself, because I promise you, you deserve all the good things of the world. I want to say that I know that I have not been here the way that I said I would be. I just want to explain myself before we go on. So for me, January is a month where I take everything in. I do a lot of introspection. I relax and I plan my year. Actually, from the end of December, I start to do that into the mid of January. This is actually the 15th that I am shooting this video. So I have been away, thinking about my year, what happened in the past year, and what I want to be doing this year. And that's why I've not been here. And I just want to say this quickly, because that's what I was doing last year. And I had a fantastic year last year. I did that last year and I had a fantastic year. So I've, decided that this is what I'm going to be doing every year. I've not been on social media as much. I've not been off social media, but I've not been on social media as much. I've just been focusing on me and spending a lot of time with myself. So that's why. Thank you for watching this video to the end. Like I would usually say, if you liked it, please make sure that you give it a thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe to me. And I will see you in another video. Bye.